Welcome back to Good Morning Texas. There are a wide variety of students on campus with physical and mental disabilities. They receive an excellent education, but do they receive the necessary needs to meet their handicaps? I met up with one student to hear her story.
So I come from a small high school, small hometown. My high school, we only have one high school, so my class was like around 365, and it was pretty much, I didn't really have to deal much with accessibility over there. And then I remember wanting to come to UT, my parents being extremely nervous because they saw how big the campus was. I was ready for change, and especially, but for me, mobility-wise, I have just relied on my friends. If I do go to SSD, I met with more bureaucracy, and it makes sense, but it's the connection. And I feel like it just doesn't, I feel like it's an institution, which is great. If it's an institution, then that means it's working. It's a system that's working. But if there's no personal touch to it, which is what I feel is lacking, I think it's harder for students to come forward and be more comfortable. Most of all, I think it just puts into perspective the bigger world out there. Like, yes, I'm struggling. Yes, I'm going through whatever it is that day, but I tend to think in bigger picture wise, and I'm like, it's not that bad. If I can make someone else's day better, then I think that's my value, is somehow leaving something behind for someone else to continue that for the following person. So if I can make someone else smile, then hopefully, they turn around and do the same for someone else.
So what was it like to sit down with her and hear her story?
Well, it's so funny because I've actually always seen her around campus and wanted to talk to her, wanted to get to know what it was like for her. And so it finally became real. I finally was able to actually hear from somebody that, has, understand her heart and where she's coming from, and just really getting it that, wow, this can be a struggle. But it was beautiful to see that she has so much hope. And I actually just found out that she's going to be running for student body president.
Wow.
So that is really incredible to hear, but she had, I feel like, had more hope than me, and I don't have all the handicaps that she has physically.
Right.
And so it's so nice to see that she has some struggles that some of us may see as doom and failure, but she takes those and says they make her stronger.
Absolutely, and if she were to become our student body president, it would be incredible to see the steps that she would take to make sure that accessibility is available for all people, and just to see where she stands on certain platforms for our campus. So I'm very interested to see the outcome of this student body election.
Absolutely. And she really did touch me. So after hearing Alejandrina's story, I attempted to place myself in her shoes and move around campus in a wheelchair for a day. So take a look. It's currently 9:30 a.m. and I'm already late to class. I am decided to take on the Archer Challenge, and I'm gonna try to see if it's possible and how easy it is to get around campus all day in a wheelchair. So I guess wish me luck. Here I go. So after about 10 minutes, Crystal is the first person that offered help.
So this happened before, and this guy was going up the hill towards Guad, and I felt really bad, but I waited too long and somebody else helped him. So I felt bad. I was like, I should have done that.
Yeah.
It's about 11 o'clock. On my way to my next class, Jesus stopped to help me because it's definitely going to be a little difficult to drive up this ramp by myself because I am in a manual wheelchair as opposed to a motorized one. So here we go. So that ramp
ramp back there was a little too steep. I'm thankful that I'm not actually handicapped, so I'm able to get out of it. I feel bad that I wasn't able to complete that.
After attempting the Archer Challenge, I have better understood the difficulty for students with handicaps to move around campus. I was not able to successfully move around in a wheelchair the entire day and learned that certain areas do not have appropriate accessibility for students with physical disabilities on campus.
Wow, what a challenge you took on, putting yourself in a wheelchair and putting yourself in people with physical handicaps positions. What was that like for you?
Well, actually, I got the idea from this organization called the Archer Challenge, where it's a man who started an organization where people are able to understand and try to put themselves into the shoes of somebody with physical disabilities or handicaps and go through a day in the life. And he provides wheelchairs for them. So I didn't get a wheelchair from him, but I definitely took the idea from him and was like, you know, I'm going to try to experience this. And I honestly will say that since that day, it wasn't that long ago, it was about a week ago, each day I pass those ramps and pass those parts that are very hard for people with handicaps or physical disabilities to maneuver around. I keep thinking about it and I'm like, man, I used to take this stuff for granted, and now that I've actually experienced it, I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, like this campus is not equally accessible for all students. And actually, one of my classes is in the theater building, and I had to go downstairs to the basement, and they didn't have an elevator to go downstairs.
Wow.
Or if they did, nobody could tell me where it was, because I was like, excuse me, does anybody know where this elevator is? And luckily, since I actually can walk, I just got out of the wheelchair and walked down there. But I thought, what if a student was in a wheelchair and needed to go to the basement? And so there's definitely some things that I feel like they can work on, but I'm thankful that I was able to experience this challenge.
Absolutely. When we come back, student Arden Frank takes us through the fashion experience of a lifetime. Stay with us. Welcome back to Good Morning Texas. We have Arden Frank in studio here with us. Arden is a sophomore textile and apparel major who attended New York Fashion Week last week. Thank you so much for coming in and talking to us. Could you please tell us what that experience was like? It sounds phenomenal.
Pretty wild. Lots of work, very busy, little sleep, lots of walking.
Oh, I can only imagine. Did you go with a group or were you by yourself? What was the group situation like?
So I went with University Fashion Group, which is essentially our fashion club on campus, and we produce our textiles and apparel design senior fashion show every year. So getting to go to New York Fashion Weekend, working behind the scenes with their production teams is kind of a learning experience for us, and we can take away a lot and see what we can add to our production.
Absolutely. So what did you learn from New York Fashion Week that you're going to bring back to UT?
Definitely how important time management is. There was one show I worked and I was supposed to be there for a run through and they weren't even ready and they just sent me home and it was the night before and they had to have everyone get there even earlier in the morning the next day.
Wow, a lot goes on behind the scenes of any production, as we know here, and I can only imagine on such a great scale as New York Fashion Week is. What was your favorite part in such a hectic week?
My favorite part was definitely getting to work the Alexander Wang show.
Wow.
It was a really awesome opportunity, and I actually got to watch the show, which was very interesting to see the whole thing come together after being backstage all day and watching the run-throughs and then finally seeing the models in their looks and just working it.
Wow, I can only imagine being there. Can you tell us any secrets from New York Fashion Week? Any good scoop that we would want to know?
If you're working the right show, There's really good food backstage.
Very good to know. Good to know. I don't know if I'll ever make it to New York Fashion Week, but if I do, I will definitely scope out the food. Thank you so much for coming in and talking to us, Arden. Be sure to follow her Instagram, _Let's_B_Frank. Thank you so much again for coming in and talking to us. Also, be sure to keep up with Good Morning Texas on Twitter and Snapchat at Good Morning TX. Thank you so much. Have a great week.